Hi there, Doc Bateman here. This is another math refresher video. This is the third in the series about polynomials. In this video, we'll talk about how to square polynomials and how to calculate square roots. If you get value from these videos, please like and subscribe below and share them with a friend. Let's get started. Let's look at how we square a polynomial, and we'll work out an example where we square a binomial. Be careful. A plus b quantity squared does not equal a squared plus b squared. A lot of students want to just square the two terms. That is incorrect. What this means, a plus b quantity squared, is a plus b times a plus b. So a plus b quantity squared is a shorthand for what I've written out. And once I write it that way, you all are FOIL experts by now. So I look at the first terms, a squared, the outer term plus a times b, the inner terms plus a times b, and then the last terms plus b squared. And this can be simplified as a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And that is the square of a plus b. So let's do one with numbers. Remember what I said, x plus 4 quantity squared equals x plus 4 times x plus 4. If we FOIL this out, first terms together is x squared. The outer terms gives me plus 4x. The inner term gives me another plus 4x. And then the last terms give me a 16. And this simplifies to x squared plus 8x plus 16. And that's how you square a binomial. Let's look at a special case. Special case where we have two binomials that are the same except one has a plus sign and one has a minus sign. If I FOIL this out, first terms together give me x squared. The outer terms gives me minus a times x. The inner term gives me plus a times x. And then the last terms gives me minus a squared. Notice that the minus ax and plus ax cancel, and I'm simply left with x squared minus a squared. And I like to call this the difference of two squares. So in this case, you can simply square the first term and subtract the squared second term, and that's how you multiply x plus a times x minus a. Next, let's do it with some numbers. Say we want to multiply x plus 3 times x minus 3. First terms gives me x squared. Outer terms gives me minus 3x. Inner term is plus 3x. And then the last terms is minus 3 times plus 3, which is minus 9. The minus 3x and plus 3x cancel, and I'm left with x squared minus 9, which is simply the first term squared minus the second term squared. Here's another example. What if we have two variables? Say we want to multiply x plus 3 times y plus 2. We can do this with FOIL as well. So the first term together is x times y, so we simply write xy. The outer term is plus 2 times x, so that's plus 2x. The inner term is plus 3 times y, so it's just 3y. And then the final term is 3 times 2, which is plus 6. We can't simplify this, so we're done at this point. Next, let's look at a case where there's a negative sign in one of the binomials. The first terms together, x times y, gives me xy. The outer term gives me minus 6 times x. The inner term gives me plus 4 times y. And then the final term, minus 6 times 4, gives me a minus 24. And it can't be simplified, so we're done at that point. Now say we had two binomials with a negative sign in the first one. First terms multiplied together, x times y gives me an xy. The outer term is plus 2 times x. The inner term is minus 7 times y. And the final term, the last term, minus 7 times 2 is minus 14. And again, we can't simplify it, so we're done there. And finally, what if we had two binomials where both terms were negative? First times first gives me x times y. Outer terms gives me minus 3 times x, which is minus 3x. Inner is minus 4 times y. And the last is minus 4 times minus 3, which is a plus 12. And again, this cannot be simplified, and so that's the answer. Next, let's talk about square roots. My question to you is, what is the square root of 4? And I hear you saying, well, that's a dumb question, Doc. Everybody knows that the square root of 4 is 2, because everybody knows that 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2, which can also be written as 2 squared, is 4. So what a silly question to ask, what's the square root of 4? It has to be 2, right? No, I'm afraid not, because there's another answer. What happens if I have minus 2 times minus 2? That can be written as minus 2 squared, which is also 4. So the square root of 4 actually has two answers. So what I want you to get used to is the square root of 4, and here's the proper answer, is plus or minus 2. And that's how it's written. Square root of 4 is plus or minus 2. The square root has two correct answers. So how do you learn to do this better? Practice. Practice your FOIL. Practice multiplying binomials together. Make up your own problems. You can Google for a FOIL calculator to check your work, and that way you know that you've done it correctly. So now you should know everything there is to know about polynomials. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you understand it a little bit more. Leave me questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching.